The very last thing that needs to be done is making this cart button dynamic. For a very long time we've left it alone and it's kind of been bugging me. We will finally make this function correctly. Let's open the header template and look for the cart button. The very first thing we want to do is replace this static text that displays the number of items in the cart. Replace this text and echo out the following: WC cart get cart contents count. Let's go through this one by one. First, we call the WC function, which will return the current Woocommerce instance. In the resource section of this lecture, I provide a link to the Woocommerce API docs. This part of the documentation provides information about the code inside Woocommerce. Here you'll learn more about the classes and functions provided by Woocommerce. The sidebar provides a link to the WC function. Here is what Woocommerce says about this function. Returns the main instance of WC to prevent the need to use globals. If you look below, you'll see in the return values section we can check out the Woocommerce class. Let's click on it. You'll find a list of methods and properties you can use. One of these properties is the cart property. If you click it, you'll find out by default it's null. However, Woocommerce will set this up for you so it usually won't be null. If you look at the comment above, you'll notice that Woocommerce tells you it's an instance of the WC cart class. Looking at the sidebar, you'll find a link to the class. Here you'll find all the methods and properties you can use. Since it's already set up for you, then you can just call these methods and properties and use them any way you like. One of these methods is the getCartContents count, which gets the number of items in the cart. Looking back at our code, all we did was chain this together. There's a lot that goes on to make this cart work, but I want to save some time. Go to the Woocommerce templates folder and look for the cart folder. Open the cart.php template. This template contains the code for displaying all the items in the cart along with the total. Inside you'll find a loop that starts at around line 40 that goes through all the items in the cart. I'm going to copy this loop and paste it inside the header file. It should be pasted inside the div tag with the class top cart items. Then I'm going to copy one of these cart items and paste it right before the table row like so. I'm going to delete the other cart items since we don't need them anymore. What we'll be doing is copying and pasting the data from the table row HTML into our templates formatted HTML. Before we can do that, let's review the code inside this loop and understand how it works. The very first thing is the loop itself. Just like we did previously, we're grabbing the current cart instance and calling the getCart method, which will return an array of items currently in the user's cart. Then it gets assigned to a key and value respectively. This loop is essentially looping through all the items in the user's cart. Next, the underscore product variable is defined, which will contain information about the current product in the loop. Afterwards, we grab the product ID just in case we need it later. Next up is the conditional statement, which will check for 4 things. First is to check if a product is even returned. We don't want to loop through a product that is broken or incomplete. Second is to check if the product actually exists. Third is to check if there's even a quantity for the item. Lastly, we're checking if the current item should even be visible. If all the conditional checks pass, then we can begin displaying the cart item. Before we start moving everything, I'm going to remove the last 2 cells, which are the remove and total subtotal cells. I'm also going to remove the first cell. We won't be needing these. Now we can begin moving everything. The very first thing I want to move is the PHP code for the thumbnail. You can find it inside the TD tag with the class product thumbnail. We're going to copy all this code over to the div tag with the class top cart item image. All this does is grab the thumbnail by using the filter Woocommerce Cart Item Thumbnail. Then, it'll check if there's a permalink. If there isn't, it'll output the thumbnail itself. Otherwise, it'll output the thumbnail surrounded by a link. I'm going to remove the cell that had the thumbnail since we have the code pasted over. Next, I'm going to copy over the PHP code for the name and paste it over the static text for the name. You can find it in the TD tag with the class product name. This bit of code is doing more than just adding the name. It's also grabbing some extra metadata and outputting it. However, our cart is very simple, so I'm going to get rid of this metadata and backorder notification code. It'll just leave us with this simple conditional statement. Just like before, remove the cell with the product name. The last thing we need to do is grab the product price. It's the same as before. Grab the PHP code relevant to the price. The last piece is this quantity code, but we will not be using this bit of code. The reason being is because this bit of code will actually output some input tags which we don't need. All we want is the quantity number itself. Luckily, each cart item in the array has a key called quantity which we can output like so. We're almost finished with the cart. We have to replace the total next. The cart object has a method called getCartTotal which will output the total in the cart with the currency. It should use the currency you set in the WooCommerce settings. Inside the span tag with the class top checkout price, replace the static text with the method. Lastly, we have to make this link work. Update the href attribute and call the function wcGetCartURL. This is a function that will return the URL to the cart page. Just like that, we've finished the cart. Make sure to remove this table row bit of code we pasted in earlier as we no longer need it. Let's refresh the page and check to see if everything worked. After confirming that everything is working, we can now move on to the next lecture. See you there.